When Bloober Team recently unveiled their brand new survival horror game Chronos: The New Dawn, which also happens to be the studio's first original IP, I couldn't help but think about The Last of Us. Not because these games look similar, because they don't, but because despite Bloober's recent release of Silent Hill 2 Remake, which is both critically acclaimed and commercially successful by selling over 1 million copies in a week, people are still going to hold them to their older standards and say that it was just a remake and any studio could have done it, which also negates everything positive that they did with it. Before I share why I think this is unfair, it's important to remember that studios change and hopefully evolve over time. They learn from their weaknesses, from their successes, and implement this knowledge into their next games. This is how a studio grows. Naughty Dog would be on the short list of one of the best gaming studios around today, but Naughty Dog's first game wasn't The Last of Us. Their first game wasn't even Crash Bandicoot. As a matter of fact, the studio had 6 games before Crash Bandicoot landed on the PlayStation in 1996. I don't think people said, well, I wasn't crazy about their work on Math Jam. Instead, once Crash Bandicoot was released, people started to believe in their work and began to trust Naughty Dog based on what they did with Crash, and now look at where they are today. So why should you believe in Bloober Team and be excited for Chronos: The New Dawn? After playing the Silent Hill 2 remake, we walked away extremely impressed. We felt that there was a big risk involved for a lot of reasons, but ultimately scored the game a 9 and ended up saying that Bloober Team found a way to make one of the best horror games of all time even better. For this reason alone, we can't wait to play Chronos: The New Dawn. We are going to be optimistic and be excited for Bloober Team and their next game and their first original IP, but we understand how most people would say that they just remade an already great game that had an already great foundation. However, I would argue that this viewpoint is a little short-sighted, coming from someone who recently finished Silent Hill 2 Remake and someone who has played many of the iconic survival horror remakes over the past few years, including Dead Space and Resident Evil 2. Yes, there was a blueprint for Silent Hill 2 already in place, but Bloober Team did a lot more than just upgrade the visuals of a game from 2001. Bloober Team almost doubled the length of the original and made plenty of smart and nuanced decisions. There was some great cinematography, the voice acting improved nearly tenfold, the cutscenes were deeply engaging, and overall, they were able to keep the soul of the game, but removed a lot of the campiness, and these changes increased immersion greatly, and the overall feeling that remained was a much darker, oppressive, and psychological experience. This doesn't even touch on the mechanics of Silent Hill 2 Remake, which were also mostly great. Let's turn our focus to their new IP, Chronos: The New Dawn, and in addition to coming off the Silent Hill 2 remake, the trailer gave strong hints of Dead Space with a weapon that looked very similar to the plasma cutter, as well as what looks similar to the rig with the lights in a similar place on the spine. It also evoked Returnal with a sci-fi time-traveling theme, both of which are incredibly strong sci-fi inspirations to pull from. Chronos is continuing to focus on what Bloober Team have been doing, which is third-person survival horror, but this time there is a time-traveling sci-fi backdrop for this horror. Sound design plays such a large role in horror, and one of the aspects of the trailer that caught my attention was the sound of the gun when it was firing. It had such a unique, futuristic pitch to it, which reminded me of the incredible sound design in the Silent Hill 2 remake. The game description reads, Chronos is set in a grim world where Eastern European brutalism meets retro-futurist technology. You play as a traveler who must scour the wastelands of the future in search of time rifts that will send you back to 1980s Poland. Once there, your mission is to locate key people who perished in the apocalypse. Using your all-powerful harvester, you need to extract their essence and have them accompany you into the future. Now, one can only assume that the people that you need to locate have a very important role in altering the events that happen or have happened already. They somehow have the capability or knowledge to reverse the events of the past somehow if they are able to use future technology. I think almost as important as what a studio has done is what has a studio done lately. And when it comes to Bloober Team and what they have done lately, they took one of the best survival horror games of all time and made it better in almost every conceivable way. Now, this doesn't mean they're off the hook for their inconsistent work in the past, and we're not blindly trusting them no matter what they do moving forward, but it does mean that without a doubt, they have proved that they have the ability to make an amazing survival horror game, and we are easily very excited about Chronos: The New Dawn and optimistic that they can stick the landing. Before leaving, consider subscribing if you learned anything new from the video or enjoyed the vibes. If you're unfamiliar, we're trying to cultivate a community full of positivity that's free from toxicity and negativity. That's everything for today, but until next time, be good to your fellow gamer, but be better to your fellow human.